Hey, 24/7 Marriage family, welcome back to the Field Guide for Marriage podcast. And we are laughing here just because one day Javier and his little brain is going to get it right. Field Guide for Marriage.
Oh, I thought you were laughing because we were laughing pre-recording.
We're a number of episodes into the new title change. I'm getting there, but Field Guide for Marriage, when you understand like what that means is we are coming alongside as guides into your marriage. Marriage is not meant to be done alone. It's meant to be lived out in community and with others. You need other people, right? On your team. You need other people who are going to be coming alongside, putting their finger in your chest and calling you out and holding you accountable. Like,
I think what we should do is once Javi nails the title, we should change it just to mess with you. I'm just joking, but I'm not. Am I? I don't know. Okay, what's in your backpack, Javi? Are you ready?
I have a lot of things in my backpack. Let me tell you what I got on my backpack. Corn. I got corn in my backpack. There's another story to why I have corn in my backpack, but you should not bring it into your bedroom. That's all I got to say about that. What's in my backpack, Shannon?
Oh, how I love having producers on set. Okay, which one of us is more likely to start a petty argument?
Shannon. I don't have to even think about it.
Shannon. You like hit the buzzer?
That would be you.
Really?
Number one answer on the board. What is a petty argument by Shannon? Yeah, yeah.
All right.
I think so.
All right. Okay.
What would you say? I mean, what are you going to say? I mean, you got a choice here. It's either me or it's you.
Let's be honest. It's going to be me. The thing that frustrates me most about you, and this is not a question out of my backpack, is that when I get upset with you over something, you diffuse it so fast that there's no real fight, and I feel like I wanted to just have it out with you for a second and then move on and get over it. And you're like, you like forgive and you forget and you move on so quickly. I was like, whoa.
Well, I'm quick to recognize that, that was wrong. I said that wrong or a mistake, and like I did it yesterday.
You did it yesterday at the Chick-fil-A drive-thru. I was
about confession, we had a Chick-fil-A ice cream because we wanted something cold and we didn't know where else to go, and so we just drove through there.
And we get to the guy, and when I say there was only an 8-second delay, because all I wanted to do was the dessert menu's short. There's only ice cream on a cone and like 4 milkshakes.
And a brownie or something.
Yeah.
But listen,
I've never gotten dessert there in my life.
You said, I just want like an ice cream cone. I just want something quick and easy. So I'm thinking like, well, okay, we'll go there. No. I'm saying like, I assumed that was the problem, that you knew all they have is an ice dream. It's vanilla. That's all they have. That's all they have. So you said you wanted a cone, and the guy asked you for your order. You're just sitting there saying nothing. I'm like, hello. I answer him. You want a cone? That's what you said. And so I got like, give them your order already. They only have one cone. Because I assumed you knew that. So I was wrong. And I admitted it very quickly.
You did.
Yeah. So I'm like, what were you looking at?
The 4 choices in case I wanted a milkshake. And I was like, I couldn't. I was like, your order, Shannon, your order.
Shannon, I'm right here. Don't yell at me.
Chocolate, vanilla, strawberry. No. Then they could do the like lemonade with the, what's that? What's the lemonade?
I don't know.
Like
something
frosty lemonade thing. Frosty lemonade. I was like, maybe I want that. So I was just deciding, but I was not quick enough to order for my precious little dear dough husband of mine.
Stop with the dough. Yeah. So I mean, those moments happen, but we got it right. And I was quick to say, I'm sorry. I thought you knew that they only have one. And you said you want an ice cream cone, so why would you delay?
If you've learned anything about women, Javier, we say one thing, but we could mean 9 other things.
Was because we also left the store, and I'm like, honey, on the way back, is there anything else you want? You're like, no. And then 2 minutes into the drive, you're like, well, where's that ice cream shop? I'm like, it was back there where I asked you if you wanted anything. And you're like.
And then you walked me into the milkshake factory, and you said, if I eat this, I'll get diarrhea. And we left.
I can't do that. Was like a milkshake on steroids. There's no way I would
You're
be able to ingest that and be okay.
We have podcasts due tomorrow. It won't go well. I was like, fine. We left the milkshake factory.
I would be sitting here like not in good. No, it would not be healthy or good.
Would you have to wear Depends?
No, or something. Yeah. So,
Shannon, on that note, let's talk about sex.
No, let's talk about on that healthy note. Let's talk about your favorite subject.
Sex.
Here's what's interesting is I think everybody is and I think people need to hear this, understand it, is like everybody's at a different place. So when we started out married, like my libido was higher, and it was that kind of typical, like Shannon wasn't quite there, so it was it was early on.
Yeah, but I don't think that it was. I wouldn't categorize it as low as maybe suppressed.
Okay.
I was more of in a shamed place.
Okay.
Where sex was,
yeah. And so I'm just saying it has shifted and changed, and now.
I want to have sex with you all the time. Yes.
And I'm like, can we just sit in the couch?
No, we can't.
Can we just cuddle? Would you just hold me?
No.
Like I'm just like this.
Drop your pants. Get to the bedroom.
Shannon, sweet Moses, and so.
Do you feel used and abused?
Sometimes, yeah. Like, can we just cuddle on the couch? Just use me. Like we have flopped, and that's a season of life. It's also for me, like, to be fully transparent. Like I've had prostate issues when I was 37 years old, which is very rare.
Yeah.
So just things have shifted and changed, and it's like we tell couples like. We used to, like, I don't know if we talked about it, but we started talking to other couples where the guy didn't have a high libido and he was feeling embarrassed or ashamed by it, or like something's wrong, because culture tells you the man's always supposed to desire that and want that. That's like something's wrong with you if you don't.
Yeah.
And that was not the case.
Yeah.
And so sometimes there are medical things, and there are just seasons of life, and there's some testosterone things that go on. So if you're a man listening to this and that's the place that you're at, just please know and recognize, if you see an animal moving around, also that's our dog who's on here with us. So it's just Shadow.
Yeah. So for the majority of married couples, most couples have mismatched libidos. That's the norm. If you and your spouse can go 30 years married and have the same matched libido, those are the people that usually decide they should go into like marriage ministry because they feel like they're knocking it out of the park. Yeah. But that's not the norm. There's most married couples have mismatched. And it changes with every season because, you start off as newlyweds and you go into seasons of new parenting, new moms, and then there's empty nesters. And then there's the physical changes our bodies go through as we age. So there's always going to be this mismatched. But I think that God strategically created it that way so that we could continue to be students of our spouse, to continue to learn about our spouse. Yeah. And that, so this is a season where we used to do this a lot and this was really fun, and now it's changed and I have to adapt. I have to learn, I have to listen, I have to lean in to my spouse like I haven't before, and not accuse or think it's about me or it's about them. Yeah. This is about what season are we in? What's going on with my wife? What's going on with my husband? Yeah. How can I serve them? How can we come together and find intimacy, even if it looks different in this season?
I mean, and this is a topic that it's not easy. There's a lot to it. So we could go on and on and on, episode after episode, around this topic. But I know you're gonna lead some of this about just what's God's design for sex in marriage and what He intended from the very beginning, right? That this is one of the most intimate and sacred acts. And remember, this is not like intimacy. Is not necessarily sex. Like people use the word intimacy. No. Intimacy happens before, and intimacy is a foundation to your marriage. But we tell couples always that things have to be right above the sheets before they're good beneath the sheets.
That's right.
And so to experience the fullness of what God has for you in this area, it first and foremost starts with your own personal intimacy with Christ. Mm-hmm. Out of the overflow of that, it starts to trickle down. But also, it begins with, like we say, good sex starts in the morning. It's intentional. It's how you're connecting. It's how you're moving towards one another. And we understand that we can't touch on everything in this because there are some places where there's a lot of hurt and woundedness and brokenness in this area. There are people, there's abuse in the past, so this is something different. Like Anne, who is our workshop and boot camp manager, she tells her story at our boot camps about how this impacted their marriage from abuse she had in her past and how that impacted really their sex life, and really didn't have knowledge of that until later on in life. But it was very healing when that came to the surface. And so we understand there's all those pieces as well that kind of go on with this. But I know you really wanted to talk about just what's God's design.
Yeah. Well, because it would have been so easy to come on here and give people like these juicy nuggets to like great sex.
Juicy nugs.
But the truth is that what I feel compelled to share with people is that, like you just said, when our relationship with our Heavenly Father is good and we're in communion with Him, out of that can flow intimacy and connection with our spouse, which springboards into a great sex life. But just a great sex life on its own, yeah, I could give you 4 or 5 things that you could do,
sure,
but it'll fizzle after time, because ultimately if your relationship with Jesus isn't healthy, then everything else in your life will be affected by that. So if you want to have great sex for a couple weeks, I'm sure there's other podcasts you could listen to get some great juicy nugs, and you can take them back home. But what we want is we want to help you recognize the cracks in your foundation so that you can repair them, so that for the life of your marriage, for the health of your family, there is the outflow of that would be a healthy sex life.
Yeah.
So we're here to help you recognize, find the cracks, adopt.
Find the cracks. Sorry.
Wow.
Sorry.
To adopt mindset shifts around being intentional and serving, closing the door on things that are corrupting your home.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a lot about what we're about too, is just this, like, we can give you tips to better sex in 24 hours, like all those things that but what's foundational, what's beneath that enables that to be something that's flourishing and life-giving, like you just said.
Yeah.
Like good sex is intentional. And there's moments when it's just wild and crazy and it's quick, and there's moments when it's more thought out, and maybe there's times for couples because of crazy busy season it's planned. Like you got to put it on the calendar, and some people think, oh, that's bad, I got to put it on the calendar. But like, if that's what it takes for you guys to be able to have moments to connect, and it's not just a physical act. It is a sacred connection. It is a spiritual connection that gets to be celebrated between you and your spouse.
And it's how you serve one another.
Yeah, and it is how you serve one another.
Because one of the things we talked about in a reel that came out months ago was one of the things we don't allow in our bedroom is selfishness. So there's no room for us to be selfish, because I'm coming in there to serve you. And as I'm serving you, you're serving me, and we're enjoying the fruit of our marriage covenant. That's a beautiful thing.
What's the analogy that you've given at times of Disneyland?
Oh my gosh, Javier, I haven't shared that for years. That's like OG boot camp material from 2018. Well, I
mean, it goes to that part of I know we're kind of jumping around a little bit, but it goes to that part of
really jumping around.
I just thought of it.
So Disneyland in California has this ride called Splash Mountain. It's not called Splash Mountain anymore because I think it's Tiana's whatever ride now. Whatever. So Splash Mountain is the log ride where, you're in the log and you go down the big hill and all that. So I've always used this analogy early on when we would teach boot camps is if your spouse invited you to go to Disneyland and you're like, yeah, I want to go to Disneyland, that'd be so fun. He's like, great, we get in the car, we drive all the way down there, we buy our tickets, we get in, and your spouse says, have a seat on this bench. I'm going to grab you some popcorn. I'm going to go ride the Splash Mountain right now. You're like, oh, cool. Okay. All right. I didn't know I was coming all the way to Disneyland. You got me really excited to come to Disneyland. We said we were going to go on, I knew we were going to probably go on Splash Mountain, but I didn't know that you were going to go on Splash Mountain by yourself, and I was just going to sit on the bench and have some popcorn. So my analogy is take that analogy and apply it towards sex, is that you can't be selfish in the bedroom. Like, you don't get in there.
Your spouse wants to go on Splash Mountain too.
Your spouse wants to go over the mountain too. They want to get in the log, go over the mountain, and experience a big splash with their picture taken at the end. No pictures.
No pictures.
But there's sometimes, and I talk to a lot of women who said, I get into the bedroom and it feels like everything's about my husband and his needs, and he wants to climax and everything, and I don't get my needs met, and I feel neglected and I feel overlooked. And what we want to do is slay selfishness. Like, there's no room for that in the bedroom. There's enough time and space for you both to get your needs met. And sometimes we have quickies, and sometimes it's not really long and drawn out. And it's like, whatever season you find yourself in, it's being careful and cognizant of like how you're showing up, how you're meeting your spouse's needs in that moment.
And also for men, it's like we have a box for everything.
Yes,
and so when it comes to sex, there's a box for everything typically in our lives. So I've got work, I've got friends, I've got all these. My beard keeps getting stuck to the microphone and keeps pulling. Sorry. Like, it's literally getting entangled.
Pull the microphone away from you a tad.
No, bad mic. Okay. So we have boxes for everything. And so where with women, everything's kind of connected, right, through the day. So men wonder, like, well, why is she in that place, or why is she not ready? Like, look at me, I'm this gift. Like, but what happens is a man can go to work and he could get fired from his job. He could drive home, get a flat tire, fix it, pull into the driveway, hit his dog, stub his toe on the way through the door, and then trip over the kids' toys and step on some Legos, and come into his wife and said, hey, want to go to the bedroom? Ready to go? Because everything's disconnected. Like, it's not all tied together. Where with women, everything's tied together. Yeah. There's the emotions, like, well, my friend called me today and she's had this going on, and then I broke a nail, and then the kids were doing this, and then this happened, and then my friend needed this help, and like, I don't feel beautiful today, and like, everything is kind of connected into this one box.
Yes.
And like, as men, sometimes we don't recognize that. Like, you come desiring your wife, which is good, and I love that, but it's not just about, I need to get this need met. Is about, like, how can I help her meet that need? What if you actually came home and you lifted up your head and you did the dishes and you helped and you bathed the kids? You know what that's actually doing? It may or may not happen that night, but you know what it's actually doing is, like, you're sowing deposits that you get to reap later.
Yeah.
As opposed to just trying and making sure I'm getting a need met, as opposed to investing in that moment.
Well,
right or wrong, am I right?
So what did you learn about my Disneyland analogy?
We're going back to that?
Well, no, we're moving on. But
what I learned?
Don't invite us to Disneyland and then ask us to sit.
I hear you.
And not let us ride the rides.
Yes.
We want to ride the rides.
Okay, I hear you.
Yeah. Okay.
I hear you.
So what do we see going on in culture is that couples are not transformed by the gospel. You can't go to church on Sunday and live like the world on Monday. And also, what are you inviting into your home? And I marked these things down: TV, music, video games, and people. Yeah. And people gloss over those things, but when you have those things, you're inviting spirits into your home. You're inviting things into your home. Yeah. So what's plaguing marriages? Pornography, loose boundaries with the opposite sex, morality around websites, accounts you follow, and character, who you're talking to online. Glamour magazine did a study. That's not like a super reputable company or anything, but they did a study that 85% of affairs start in the workplace. So, and then there was another study that of how many affairs start via social media of people connecting with people they used to know through, like people you went to high school or college with, and they're getting reacquainted, and now they're having these online affairs.
Yeah.
So many things are happening out of the context of your marriage because of there's this no boundaries rule. And I've seen a lot of people in the comments push back on these things. Well, my wife, she's allowed to have guy friends and she can go on vacation and go to dinner with them. Great, that's for you. I'm just saying, we're telling you that when you have a boundary around them, then you are protecting your marriage.
Yeah.
And what I want people to understand is this not worth protecting? Is this not your greatest investment?
Yeah.
Is what we have, this covenant, not the most important thing besides our relationship with Jesus Christ? So important that we'd be willing to say no to a dinner date? Like, when you really break it down, like, okay, so you're not going to hang out with a bunch of guys now that you're married. Like, you really need to hold on to that and maybe sacrifice and open the door to temptation or something that can happen to your marriage. Yeah. Like, why wouldn't you want to protect it?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, that's what you're called to do. And I think, like, when you leave the door open to those areas, that's absolutely impacting and coming into that area of your sex life. With so many men, and this is again another topic for another podcast. But when we talk about pornography and what men are allowing in, and then there's also men that we have met with who then justify their actions. Yeah, but she's not, or I'm not fulfilled, or she's not willing. And I would tell you that isn't an absolute lie and an absolute excuse, because what you're doing is trying to take your behaviors and your actions and not have any ownership whatsoever, and trying to project that then upon your wife because they're not doing this. You think you have an excuse and a reason and permission then to go look at somebody who is not your wife, who is somebody else's daughter, and you think that's okay. And what is the deception there is that is a false, right? A false narrative, a false story. It is a false counterfeit of what God intended and what he calls. And so what happens is that's one of the tools the enemy is going to use. Absolutely. Yes. And they'll try to make you as a man shift that and put that towards your wife. Say, because she's not doing this, and you deserve that. Like, you should be able to do that. And what begins to happen, it distorts, it brings confusion, it brings disunity. It begins, right, to eat away and become something, of course, that it becomes addictive. But here's the thing is that is something that I think we're seeing more and more with so many men, and again, and women as well. Who are moving towards that. But what they do is they try to justify it, their behavior. And if you're a man that is doing that and trying to take things into your own hand, and you have a wife who's there, who wants to connect emotionally, but you're not willing to go there, a wife who needs your help and your support, and you're wondering why, right? She may not be open in the bedroom and she's pulling away. Yeah. You need to check your behavior first and foremost. Yes. You need to see where you're at in your walk with God and your service to your spouse and how you're pursuing and moving towards them. Something is going on there, and you need to take ownership first and foremost. Yeah. And if there's some things she's navigating, then that's what you get to walk alongside with her.
But you get to.
But do not use, right, that as an excuse to justify your sin. Period.
Yeah.
Not okay.
I feel, Javier, that when we put things out on social media like these, it's a litmus test in the comments, because you see what people are really thinking.
Oh, all the time.
And the men are the ones that are commenting. And what I believe that it is when they're talking is a spirit of arrogance. It's a spirit of arrogance that she's not meeting my sexual needs, so therefore I get to fill in the blank. I should get to fill in the blank. I need, which you don't need, because you don't need to have sex to live. I know I'm blowing up the internet right now, but you don't have sex. Like, as long as you have oxygen, water, a little bit of food, you're going to be okay. But we have this spirit of arrogance around what we think we're owed. According to Scripture, you are owed nothing. You get nothing. It's like Willy Wonka at the end. You get nothing. But we have this self-righteous arrogance about us that we justify sinning, going outside our marriage, breaking our covenant, looking at pornography, even down to people saying in the comments, looking at pornography, I didn't touch, I didn't pay for, I didn't do anything physical with, just looking. There's nothing wrong with that. So it opens a whole can of worms, but it is a great litmus test to see where people are at, what they're thinking, and what's going on in people's minds.
Yeah.
And how they're justifying their sin, like you just said.
And you're bringing somebody else into your marriage.
Absolutely.
You're bringing all that in,
Yes.
and it just brings destruction. And so, this is again a topic that we can go on for quite a bit of time, but what does it look like then for people to have hot, holy, and sacred sex? What does it look like for people? Because there's some people who are struggling with that. Some people where it's difficult. If there's some things in the past that you have to navigate, then you have to talk about that. I think for me, like, it was not easy talking about sex.
No.
And not it's easy now. When you ask me questions sometimes, like, I'll giggle like a schoolboy because it wasn't talked about at home.
Well, and I purposely will ask you things in the
Don't
car.
do it right now.
Like, hey, wasn't last night fun? And you're like, yeah, that was great. I was like, oh my goodness.
It was not talked about, almost shameful. So I didn't have this healthy view around it.
So you use the word shameful for the home you grew up in, and you knew the home I grew up in. What adjective would you... Dysfunction comes to mind because my parents had a lot of sin.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it too is like growing up within the church. You're always told, don't have sex before you get married. Don't have sex before you get married. But I was always like, well, why? Yeah. No one talked about the why. Yes. No one talked about why it's sacred and the intention for marriage and the done within the covenant and the reward for that in that side of marriage. Like, desire is good. Like, I think you should have desire for your wife for the opposite sex, but like, desire misplaced is not healthy. And so I just didn't grow up with like hearing good health or even talked about. So when we got married and talked about it, like, it was not easy. So I think if that's where you're at, come to the table and have that conversation. Yeah. This is difficult for me. This is my view of it. This is why it's a struggle in this area. Or if it's like you feel disconnected, there's some emotional disconnection, like, bring that to the table. Yeah. Because what happens is for a guy, that's his release. Yeah. Like, that is like for him where he feels loved, where he feels like, whew, okay, I feel great now. And so you can't condemn him for that. You can't tell him he's wrong for feeling that way. But also at the same time, as a man, you have to recognize, like, are you depositing into the emotional bank account? Are you pursuing, serving, and loving that she desires, right? Yes. And you recognize in those moments when she needs your help and support, not because you want something at the end of it, but just because you get to do that. Yeah. And so I think there needs to be that emotional connection and safety as well.
Yeah. No, that's so good.
What would you say?
There's so many layers to this. I think this is what drove us to write one of our downloads over a year ago called Engage. And that is specifically designed to sit down and build intimacy with your spouse. Yeah. Like, not in a rush, not hurried.
Like, start there.
Like, sitting down when the kids are asleep or going away for the weekend and asking each other these questions to build intimacy. Because it has to be built in. Because one of the things the enemy loves to do is bring disconnection. So as soon as you stop talking about sex with your spouse, or as soon as you stop sharing the thing that maybe is frustrated or your needs aren't getting met, and you stop talking about it, and days, weeks, and months go by, the enemy has created this giant valley, this chasm between you and your spouse. And now you're like, oh yeah, we're not talking about it. We're not sharing. There's nothing going on. So we wanted to bring a download that would help bridge that communication back together. I think it's important as a husband and wife sit down and evaluate TV, music, video games, and the people that you invite into your home. There is so much soft porn just on Hulu and all the streaming things that you can find, and really doing an edit of your entertainment taken. It's important, the music that you listen to. If you guys are gamers, what kinds of games are you playing? What are you inviting into your home? And then the people that you do life with. That's important. You want to surround yourself with life-giving people who believe what you believe, who are going to support a covenant marriage between a man and a woman, because out of that, you're gonna reap the benefits of that. You're gonna have people in your corner that you can go to. Absolutely. And so often we've met people that are like, oh, our best friends, they're like into swinging. Why are they your best friends? Find new best friends.
Listen, we
is
actually
an abomination.
learned we didn't learn a lot about it, but we found out being with the Marriage Lab on the road across the country,
pineapples or something.
There's all these things that that's for another time. Like, was very interesting to find that out.
Yeah, it's crazy.
For another podcast, we scratched the surface on this, and but listen, this is it again. It's more about, and that's kind of what we're about, is that those foundational things that I think when those things are in place, they lead oftentimes to better sex and connection and intimacy. And I think those are the important things to recognize. So thanks for jumping in on this. Send us your questions at times, through DMs or comment here in the comment section, because we want to be able to ask questions, be able to even take your questions and be able to kind of talk through those as well, because it's important, because every situation is a little bit different. So thanks for being part of the 24/7 Marriage family. Remember to like, review, subscribe, share this with others, and we're grateful that you are here.
And thank you to our 23 Media family. Absolutely. We love them so much.
And so always remember, in marriage, you don't have to.
You get to.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.